What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, y'all? So we are back again for another reunion, part 2 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. We back for part 2. And girl, it's just, I don't know what. Like, I just feel like maybe my attention span ain't really there. I don't know what's going on. But to be honest, we in part 2. The reunion is not giving anything that we haven't already like discussed, or it's not really giving. It's not. I don't know. I don't know. Like the first part was, we expected that, but I don't know. We didn't need 2 parts. We didn't need, well, honestly, we didn't need 3 parts. That's what I should say. But let's get into it and let me go off of what I can remember. Okay. So we pick up, I know for sure, with the Fedra and the Angela of it all. Angela, I do not believe that Fedra did whatever you accused her of doing so that she can secure her spot on the show. I just don't see it. Okay. It just doesn't make sense. Because like I said last week, at the end of last week's review, that spot was already secured. They're not going to bring her back for a couple of episodes and not bring her back for a full season the next season. So that spot was already secured. And the fact that Candy is not coming back, yeah, that's because Candy has already said, that's not what she's looking into doing right about now. And so she don't see it coming back anytime soon. So therefore, Fedra is okay in her spot on this show. Anybody that needs to secure a spot, honestly, Cynthia as a friend of, and even if she probably would, I would see Cynthia coming back as a full-time cast member than anybody, trying to secure a spot. But Phaedra is okay. Porsha is definitely okay. These are the OGs. Phaedra, Cynthia, Porsha, they're going to have a spot on the show regardless, okay? They don't need to secure anything because it's already secured. So talking about that securing of the spot, that's just, no, I'm not here for that one. I can't give you that one, Miss Girly. But the whole Anton situation and your brother knowing this so-called person that's setting you up and everything or whatever, do I feel like, okay, let me get this. Do I feel like it was Angela who set her on this whole thing into motion to make it seem like somebody was coming after her husband to make sure that she can secure her spot on the show? No. And if that were to happen, that really says a lot about Angela, that you would stoop so low to mess up your own relationship when people are already, or I should say, play with your marriage. When people already got feelings about how your husband be talking to you and how he be acting towards you, not realizing that the man just a grumpy ass old man. That's just really what it is. Do I feel like she set this up for a storyline or whatever? No. Do I feel like at this point that there's probably some validity that what Marcus was saying was true? Yes. I don't know. Like, girl, and mind you, y'all know how I feel about Phaedra, okay? But at the end of the day, I don't think she had anything to do with it. And if she did have something to do with it, it wasn't to the extent of what Angela trying to put out there. Now, Phaedra, she got on the phone with her brother. She called off on somebody else's phone. I think it was Portia's phone, right? And, I mean, to be honest, you were leading when Kelly and Angela was like, you're leading. She was leading the conversation, first of all, by saying that you're on speakerphone, we're at the reunion. Baby, right then and there, I'm going to be on my sister's side no matter what. Okay? I'm going to be on my sister's side no matter what. I'm not about to make her look stupid. She gave you the key. She put out the keywords. We're at the reunion. You're on speakerphone. Okay? Do you know anybody named so-and-so and so-and-so? No, I don't know nobody named that bad. Okay, well, this person, Angela, is saying that this person that you friends with or whatever, that y'all went to high school together. Okay, well, I went to high school with a whole bunch of people. I don't know her. Well, you Facebook friend. When Angela said Facebook friend, I said Facebook friends, bitch. Now let me tell you something. When Phaedra brother said, Oh, we Facebook friends. I'm Facebook friends with a whole bunch of people, like a million people. So what? That don't mean that I know them. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna take that part out, and I'm gonna say I believe that part because I'm friends with a whole bunch of people on Facebook, and I don't know their asses either. No shade to the people that follow me right about now, and I don't even be on Facebook. So we all got Facebook friends. That don't mean that we're actually friends and in conversations with them and all of that stuff. And at this point in time, I'm just like, who did it? Do I feel like Fedra actually had a part in it? 100% no. Do I feel like she could have had a little hand in it? Yes. Do I feel like she put it all together and she carried this out to this point? Absolutely not. Do I feel like she has something against Angela? Yes, she does. Okay. I don't know what's the purpose. I don't know what the reason would be, but you can't say that you don't. Because like I keep saying, you came onto the show and you kept saying that you got, coming for her and all of this stuff, whatever. And I don't get it. You came for her looks, you came for her age, and I mean everybody was coming for her age, but you just came onto the show and you're talking about the marriage or whatever, then come to find out you don't really know Charles the way that you say that you know Charles. Like, even Charles on next week's episode coming up and saying, baby, you don't know me the way that you're saying it. And I believe that old man. But truth be told, at the same time, I believe Charles probably was out there doing some other stuff because he has been, I think Angela said they had an issue with cheating before. But, it's a possibility that, yeah, this did happen. You know what I'm saying? And Angela, you need to accept that fact that could be something that happened. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I feel like playing with people's marriages is just relationships. It's just ridiculous. And then, Angela brings up about how some girl that was supposed to be friends with Fedra came up to her and said, I'm so-and-so with the hands. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So we threatening people and all this stuff? Like, what's going on? I said, this is childish. This is ridiculous. This is, I don't know. Then they bring up the whole thing about Kelly, talking about Angela's marriage and all this stuff, and could possibly be ending up where she's at if she keep going the way that they going. And Kelly, she claims that she don't remember saying certain things or whatever about the marriage, but yet the footage is showing otherwise. Okay, the footage is clearly showing that you have talked about the relationship and everything. And all in all, what needs to happen is leave people relationships alone. Okay, leave people relationships alone. She apologized for it. She said she don't remember saying some of the things, but she apologized, and she don't want to disrespect her relationship and all this stuff. They get on Angela and her age. Now, Angela has an old spirit. That's literally just what it is. She has an older aura. Plus she's with this grumpy old man and it's coming off onto her. And probably because she's stressed out about them properties that she had to give up. That's probably why she comes off a little bit older to people and don't seem the way that she is. And she brought her birth certificate because somebody had asked if she really is 43 years old. And she brought her birth certificate and mama was really born in 1981. Y'all did touch so goddamn wrong. Bitch, I wish I would bring and that birth certificate is in nice condition. Nice condition, baby. I said, oh, look at the little feast on the back. I gotta ask my mama, did they do that? My mama had a book. Okay, y'all mama had books of y'all stuff. Because my mama had books of us, me and my sisters. I don't know if the oldest, the young one, 9, 10, she probably do. But I gotta ask my mama when I go back over there. She had books that had like, our birth chart on there. Ounces, pounds, all that shit. The hand prints, the feet prints, all the length and all that stuff. Girl, it was cute. I used to be flipping through the books. We got our individual. That's so cute. It's so cute. Going back memory lane. Oh my God, I gotta go back over there to my mom's house and look at this stuff. I just remember that. The whole situation with Angela and the fan. She got a fan line coming out. Truth be told, I don't know if it's already out, but that's the best thing that she could have did because that's all she used to do was hold that fan. And like they said, it's possible that, girl, you're probably going through perimenopause and you ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. You're 43 years old. The shit starts around 36. My mother, you know, she don't let me have no type of break or whatever. I be like, Mama, why this be happening? Why that be happening? She be like, well, Ashley, you're getting older and you're probably about to go through perimenopause. I said, now, bitch, don't do that. I said, girl, don't age me like that. She said, well, you know, it starts around 35, something like that. And you, I said, well, hold up. Don't age me like that because I'm in my 30s still. And yeah, that is probably what's going on with Angela, girl. That's Perry. That's the before the goddamn actual menopause, okay? And so, yeah, that's just what it was. And, you know, we got the whole thing with her properties. She had to let them things go. A couple of them she did sell off at the end of the season. That was what her little summary was, but she also had a couple of them that went into foreclosure, and so she was paying $100,000 a month for that shit. Bitch, yeah, let that stuff go. Let it go. Let it go. Moving on from that, she also had to talk about the fact that her mama had passed away, and I felt bad about that too. So her mama passed away recently, you know, and it just y'all already, I'm not even finna spend too much time on it because y'all already know we talked about mamas a little bit too much, and y'all already know how I feel like if, you know, my mama go, y'all will never see me again. Because I already know, bitch, I wouldn't be able to handle it. Angela is sitting up there poised, okay? Girl, we ain't see a tear drop. My face would be messed up. Give me some tissue. Girl, I wouldn't be able to keep it together, okay? But that was cute. That was cute that she's able to do that or whatever. But they get into this whole conversation about whether or not Drew was being that good of a friend to her or sticking up for her as much as Angela was throughout the season. And Angela said she didn't feel like she was. But, you know, she didn't take offense to it, meaning like get all up in her feelings or whatever. Drew didn't get that she wasn't doing that, but she did apologize. And the girls did have to say, yeah, it was certain times in the season where we would see that, you know, you standing up for Drew and you got Drew back, but Drew didn't have your back. When that whole situation went down with Marcus, Drew left. Drew talking about some, well, I left because I was going to get Marcus and all of this stuff, whatever. Baby, I don't give a good goddamn at the end of the day. Angela really was going hard for Drew, you know, and Shamia had to say, I don't mean to make it about me and Porsha and our relationship or whatever, because, you know, that's what y'all like to call us. You like to call me her little lapdog or whatever. But why is it that, you know, you come on my ass and you try to say shit about me and my friendship with Porsha and how I stick up for her and all this stuff and I'm a lapdog, but you take it easy on, you know, Drew and all that stuff, even though it's the same situation. And truth be told, it kind of is the same situation, okay? The way that, and I didn't even really think about it this way for a second until this night, I think this part, but honestly, Angela was sticking up for Drew the same way that Shamia was sticking up for Porsha. They were being mouthpieces, okay? That really what it was. They were being mouthpieces. You want to call them lapdogs, that's what it was. They was doing all of that. And so, you know, it is what it is, okay? At the end of the day, Shamia and Drew, they just don't see eye to eye no more. I don't think they really did, but they just don't see eye to eye. It's unfortunate because I really feel like if they could get their issues together, they could come together, especially on the creative front. They can probably do a little couple of duets together. They could probably do a couple of videos together. Baby, I see it. I see the stuff. But do y'all see the stuff? Y'all gotta want it. Put this bullshit to the side and come together and make some goddamn money. Well, Shamia, you don't need it, okay? But help the girl make some money, okay? Like, come on. This is a sisterhood. I'm not feeling the sisterhoodness, okay? Listen, we got to. And so, you know, they was talking about the whole, when it get to that situation about Drew, you know, shading Shamia and her music and her doing the songs and not being able to hit the notes and stuff, they was just talking about the fact that they was being petty against each other. Shamia was being petty towards Drew because Drew was saying things about her in interviews and stuff. and Shamia was doing the same thing. That's just really what it was. They was going back and forth. Shamia want to call her a liar about the 5 languages, and Drew talking about some. Well, actually, I didn't lie about that. That was what the name. I was talking about the 5 languages of love. The song is called Affirmations. Well, that's not what it was. No, it always been that. But no, it wasn't. But yes, it always has been. I was like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, we get to this whole thing with Fedra and asking her why did she come to the reunion for this show, but she didn't come to the reunion for Married to Medicine. And she basically said, this is the bullshit that I'm talking about. She said the women over there on Married to Medicine did not want her there. They did not see her value, her worth, and all of that other stuff. And didn't, girl, what value and worth or whatever was you giving? You gave them absolutely nothing. And this is coming from a person that never missed an episode or a season of Married to Medicine. Never missed an episode or season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. You came over there and people were trying to make it seem like, oh, once you go over there to Married to Medicine, it's going to get a whole bunch of ratings and all that stuff. You brought absolutely nothing. Your first season, you barely opened up. Okay, you wouldn't open up about nothing. The way that they keep on bringing up the whole situation with Candy, and what you did with Porsha and all that stuff, and woo, you didn't give them none of that. The girls tried to ask you what happened with that. You shut that shit down. Okay, you didn't open up nothing. You were fake as hell on goddamn Married to Medicine. And then you got fake offended by a whole bunch of shit at the end on your second season there. Okay, like, girl, stop it. Stop it. You didn't see the value in them. You used them as a stepping stone to get back onto reality TV on Bravo. That's just what it was. Just be honest about that. Because them women didn't do nothing to you. And don't say, oh, they was being mean girls and all this stuff. Meanwhile, you mean girl OG. Okay? You came back on the show being one. Like, come on. Just be honest for once. And then we get into this whole situation about how is it that Fedra was able to be forgiven so easily by Porsha after she set her up and had her believing a lie about a co-worker, another cast member, Candy. And yet when it comes to Shamia, you didn't do the same. And Porsha tried to say, basically, they weren't really cool after that, but it took some time to get there throughout the years or whatever to get back to where they at now. Okay, I can believe that. Because do I feel like they truly best friends? And do I feel like they truly back to how they used to be? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like they putting on for the show. But at the end of the day, Shamia is still harboring some issues that she feel about the fact that Fedra basically said that Shamia was a hoe. She was community puss some years ago on the show. You know what I'm saying? And that Porsha didn't really say nothing about it, didn't call her out about it, nothing like that. But Fedra is like, we talked about this and you said that you was cool, apologized, all this stuff or whatever. But now you're trying to say, bring it back up and make it seem like it's still some stuff going on and you still feel some type of way after you said that you was okay and all of this stuff. And even Cynthia had to say, it is okay to say that you talked about it, but to say that you still feel some type of way. You can still feel some type of way about it because that hurt. Just because we discussed something, just because I apologize, doesn't mean that hurt's supposed to dissipate right away from the person that I offended, from the person that I hurt. Okay? That's why I would give a person, if I offended somebody, I spoke out of turn to them, and they finally tell me, and we sit down and we have a conversation about it, I see the hurt in them, and I see the errors in my ways, I'm going to apologize. I'm not going to expect them to just be like, okay, so we can be back to besties or whatever. No, it's just not going to work that way. Because I know how I am. If it was to be done to me, somebody apologized to me, I'm still going to feel some residual hurt from that. And I'm going to have to work through that. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to be cool with you. It just means that I still feel some type of way. We can move past it, and I'm working on moving past it. Do I still have a real main issue with you? No. But I can still feel a little residual of hurt. And it's okay. And that's what Cynthia was trying to tell Shamia. It is okay to say that. You know? But Shamia was just like, I just don't understand why Fedra would say something like that anyway. You know? And because you didn't know her like that. And the fact that Porsha didn't really defend her. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is you are more of a friend to Porsha than Porsha is to you. And that's just all that it comes down to. They feel some type of way about the fact that Brit did not show up. They was like, she started all this shit and you wouldn't come in to defend yourself. You know? That's just really kind of irritating. So then we get into the whole situation with the Kenya and the Brit. And what it all boils down to is Brit full of it. And Kenya, you know, she finally took responsibility. She finally took full accountability when a reunion started filming. And I do feel like when it comes to Kenya, and I'm not giving an excuse for her, because I know sometimes when we are headstrong, when we are so stuck in our ways, and especially when we older, whatever, we feel like sometimes you just, it is what it is. Because I'm that type of bitch. I will go ahead and be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not finna say this. I'm not finna say that. If you feel some type of way, you feel some type of way. And then later on down the line, I'll probably be like, well, you know what? Maybe I was kind of wrong for saying this or whatever. You know, it take a minute. But at the end of the day, what Kenya did was wrong. Okay? What Kenya did was absolutely wrong. I don't care what you got to say about it. It was wrong. Granted, I'm not even on Brit's side. The part of it, again, where I would say where Kenya was wrong at was putting up the picture. The picture of the alleged explicit picture of Brit. That was where she was wrong at. All that other shit, I was okay with it because this is the Housewives. This is reality TV. This is what they do. We've seen it happen throughout damn near every season where somebody gets some dirt found upon them and they get put on blast. Okay? Kenya was also wrong for making that heavily focused and using that time that it was supposed to be about her opening her salon and using it to be focused on Britney and taking the focus away from her salon opening. That's what she was also wrong at. And then, you know, that whole situation, nobody, they knew what was going to happen to the point where Porsha said Kenya basically told her that Drew was the one that gave her the information and stuff like that. Drew is saying that she did it, and you know how Drew is. Like, girl, you take that shit with a grain of salt. Okay, Drew has a way of saying some things and then, you know, acting like, I didn't say that. Now, I don't know if Drew gave her the information, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Okay, because what's done is done. And Britney put her foot in her mouth anyway. So it is what it is. Kenya did what she did. And, you know, they both were wrong. They both was wrong. And the whole situation when it comes down to Cynthia coming to the fact that, you know, Britney was trying to make it seem like, well, before we get to Cynthia thing, I'm glad that Andy asked the question of, you know, when Britney said on Watch What Happened Live that it seemed like Kenya was just coming for her from day one on the reunion, on the season or whatever. And the rest of the cast, even Porsha, they was like, no. That was all in her head. And as I look back at their first reaction when they played it back, I can see how it may seem shady. And this ain't even me trying to take up for Kenya, because at first I did kind of think it. But as I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I'm asking a question because you ain't got the other band on. Why would you take that as that girl really trying to comfort you as if she know you? Like, what reason would she have to do that? The same way that they keep on saying, what reason would Fedra have to do to come at Angela? But at the end of the day, what reason? She don't know you. And that's why Angela said she posed the question when they was at the vote. Why does it seem like you got a problem with her when you... And they was trying to clear it up. because Brit feels like she had a problem and it was all imaginary, and Brit was trying to make a moment. If anything, Brit was trying to secure her spot on the show, and she wound up getting herself off the show, and that's just really what it is. And then it comes down to the fact that Cynthia and Kenya have not spoken ever since that day at the salon or whatever, and all that went down. And the backlash that Cynthia got, for the way that she handled it. I was never mad at Cynthia. I didn't understand the backlash. I don't even care to understand the backlash, because at the end of the day, Cynthia didn't do anything wrong to Kenya. Okay? At the end of the day, she said Brittany was fucking wrong for saying what she said, and Kenya was fucking wrong for doing what she did at her thing, because she's better than that. She lowered herself to this little this girl. She let this newbie come and knock her off her square, and at the end of the day, that's just really what it was. Just really what it was. Okay? I get it. You want her to be, your bestie, your friend, and have your back right in and there or whatever. But I'm not finna compromise myself and be like, well, at the end of the day, you are my friend, but, I get why you did this. No, I'm finna say, you are my friend. I understand that you was pissed off, but you handled this 100% fucking wrong. And it ain't like she did it in fucking public. She told you in your right then and there. She ain't saying it in front of everybody. She was sitting next to you and she said, oh, you kind of, I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed in how you did that, And truth hurts. That's just what it is with Kenya and Fedra, Cynthia. Truth hurts, and Kenya got to get over that hump, and it's really messed up that they don't talk or whatever, but they did have a falling out. I remember when they did the girls trip, the ultimate girls trip, and Cynthia got upset that Kenya was making friends with everybody else and not just talking to her. Girl, they had a little issue then. They do this on and off. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but hey, it is what it is. But nobody was really here for what Kenya did at that moment. Kenya took responsibility. It is what it is. So, hopefully she is back on it. I'm not going to say, I do want Kenya to be back on the next season. I do. And I honestly feel as though, given that they found out at the last minute that Brit wasn't showing up. But 9 out of 10, they probably already knew she wasn't showing up. Producers, whatever. Kenya should have been on the show. She should have been at the reunion. Even if that was for her to come out for a good 5 seconds, talk about her side, give a public speaking verbal apology or of accountability, reiterate what she said or whatever, give her version of where she was thinking, even though, we probably could look at her YouTube channel and she has said there, but I feel like she deserved to have been on the reunion a little spot, even if it was just for 5 minutes. She deserved that. So, you got that going on. But hey, I would like to see Kenya back on the show regardless. Brit, you coming out, putting your little, what you would have wore. That was cute. I ain't even gonna hold you, bitch. It was cute. But then you put that post up talking about, your time is done. And girl, we don't give a damn. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Girl, I said, what? You could have saved this, kept this, and bitch, you could have brought it to the reunion. It would have been real tea if you would have came to the reunion, got the shit up off your chest, what you needed to say to them girls, especially Kelly, okay? Especially Kelly. And then you could have came back and you would have been like on the 3rd day after next week, next Sunday, bitch, you could have been like, drop this lawsuit. Has she really filed the lawsuit yet? Because that's what I would have did. I would have cussed all you bitches out in your face. Then I would have went home, and then I would have said, punch send on that shit. Okay? Put the papers in. The papers in. There you go. That's what it was. Fuck all that talking and not showing up. I'm going to say that shit to your face. All right? That's just really what it is. Then we get into the whole thing with Shamia being on the show. She felt so hurt about the whole situation with her child and Brit bringing that up and basically insinuating, trying to make it seem like she was a bad mama or she was faking that her kid was hurt or that she felt some type of way. I didn't like that shit either, okay? I don't give a damn what they was going through. I just didn't like the way that she brought the child into it. the whole situation with the surrogacy. They asked her whether or not she is really trying to have a baby for her husband. Is it a boy? Is it mandated that she has a boy or whatever? And it seems like you're being pressured to do so. They got a whole new surrogate, okay? Because the last one, the baby, it didn't take. So they got another surrogate, I should say. And she was saying basically, no, this is what she does to, in a marriage. This is what you do for your husband who has done so much for you. And I said, okay. Hey, I'm not in a relationship. I don't want kids. So I don't know what that means. It just seems like a lot of pressure is going on. You're going through a lot, okay, with the 2 kids that you have. And, well, hey, that's just that. You know what? And this whole thing that really got me was the whole situation about the alliances and stuff. I didn't even bring that up. Last week on the reunion, it was brought up that the newbies was going to be in an alliance, including Shamia, minus Angela. And I think they wanted to put Porsha in there because Shamia said Porsha knew about it. But Porsha, of course, is acting like they didn't know about it. She didn't know anything about it. Do I think she knew something about the alliance with Porsha the way that she actually possibly could? But do I think it probably could have been presented to her a different way? Probably. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense for the newbies to put her into the alliance as well if you're trying to get certain people off the show or whatever the hell it is that they was trying to do. But I was just really tired of them talking about that, and it just really make everybody seem suspicious and look, like untrustworthy. Why do we need an alliance? Okay, why are we new people coming in? And mind you, for the most part, the new girls were being embraced by the vets. Porsha even mentioned the fact about, Fedra actually sitting there trying to give, Brit some advice as to how to, go about being on the show with the girls. You know what I'm saying? And then they get into the whole thing, like Shamia and Drew, they just don't see it for each other. When she said, girl, you lie so goddamn much, she was like, so say which lie I did. Well, when you was talking about you had the Judith Lieber bag, and it really wasn't a Judith Lieber bag. You had this bag. It was a Kira knockoff that was $130 instead of $5,000. Bitch, I don't care. Okay? Why do you care? And then you went to the point of actually going and getting the fake knockoff, if you say, and bringing it on the show. So what? Drew, let me tell you something. If you lied about that, I'm going to need you to be honest and understand ain't nothing wrong with being frugal. If you got something that look like it, just let it be. Okay? It is what it is. You ain't got to keep up with the Joneses just because to prove anything to these girls. Bitch, they struggling too. All right? And it is what it is. But, girl, why do we care? Why do you care? Then they get up into the whole situation about, the text messages being shown between Shamia and Porsha and all this stuff. And Shamia, at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is you need to open up your mouth. And that's what Cynthia said. You need to open up your mouth too, okay? Because you opening up your mouth when somebody else say something about Porsha, and then you chime in and say, well, yeah, I feel this type of way or whatever. And you can't say that that's not what's been happening, because how come all these girls know all this information about you and your relationship and how you feel, and they got this ammunition to bring it up and say that you was feeling this way and that you said this if you didn't say it. They don't have nothing against you. They don't have nothing against Porsha, because what did you do to them, and what did she do? What did Porsha do to them for them to try to break up your relationship, to break up your friendship? Absolutely nothing. You keep opening up your mouth and talking, and yeah, they can observe some things, but you also adding to it by the things that you say in their conversations, right? And at the end of the day, if you feel some type of way, open up your mouth and tell her. That's just what it is. Tell her, okay? And you also put yourself in that position. And then we get into the whole situation about her, being upset about, you know, Porsha felt some type of way about her bringing up the wedding, and because they're not cool right now. There's no communication whatsoever. And it just irked me when they said that, and the way that they panned that camera over onto not Cynthia, but Fedra, and she was just, I was like, bitch, are you about to laugh or smirk or whatever? You and your lips? Like, that irked me so much. Like, girl, what? Are you gleeful about this or something? I don't know. I couldn't read what type of expression that was, okay? Meanwhile, you know, not Phaedra, but Porsha was sitting like it was a smear campaign that everybody want to do smear campaigns. Everybody want to have an alleged smear campaign happen against them. Oh my God, y'all are so important so that you can have a smear campaign against you. Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. But anyway, I'm so sorry. That was just so random. I'm just so, bitch, for the past few days, that's all we've been hearing. Smear campaign. Bitch, shut up. Okay, I'm talking about everybody. So now Shamia had a smear campaign against Porsha. Girl, I guess if you want to say that, I haven't been looking at none of them interviews, baby. As soon as the show go off, I'm turning the TV off. Okay, like that's literally what it is. Like as soon as this finish go off, I'm finna go finish the other stuff I was doing. But she felt some type of way about the fact that, you know, she was saying how Porsha didn't congratulate her being on the show, getting her a peach. Didn't, you know, she went on Candy's show and said that she didn't congratulate her, but then Candy had to ask, well, did she call you? Did she text you? And you had to say, yeah, well, she did, and all of this stuff. And, you know, feeling some type of way about the fact that, what is it? Shamia was using the fans against her, and that she felt like it was a scheme, and that she planned all of this when she brought up the fact that Porsha didn't go to her wedding, you know, and was making fun of the fact that she was had a medical issue or whatever, which she said it wasn't funny and all this stuff, whatever, and it was a real thing. And I said, well, a medical issue, well, that's what you said then. But then on the show this season, you said the reason why you didn't go to her wedding was because y'all was beefing. And Shamia said she didn't even know that y'all was beefing. I really feel at this point, Shamia and Porsha are full of shit. I don't even know who telling the truth. I feel like they're telling their own versions of the truth, and it's really the truth in the middle somewhere. And at the end of the day, Porsha, I don't feel like it was a plan to use the fans against you, bringing up old stuff. No. As soon as people found out that Shamia had got a peach, people were already saying things about y'all friendship from day fucking one. Okay? People were already saying that you were in competition with your friend, especially with the marriage department. So, no, I don't think it had anything to do with it. Did it probably... You should have known that some of this shit probably would have came back up, given that she was on here for real, and y'all was already going through some issues. It's like to be expected. But I feel real bad that y'all let it get to this point where y'all no longer talking, and y'all been friends for so many years. This ain't no TV friendship. This ain't no we been friends for a couple of years or a year like Kelly and Brittany. It ain't on that level. They've been friends since they were kids. Okay? They've been friends for over 20 years. Decades. You know what I'm saying? And y'all get on TV and y'all let this reality show bring out all of the issues that you probably thought you settled, unearth them, and realize that it's not settled. Probably let other people get into your ears. Probably listen to people that was on social media, you know. And then that whole thing about saying that, you know, Shamia mama was saying something about her mama and all this stuff, and that whole post that Porsha had put up about that, trying to comfort Shamia, that was stupid as fuck. You still didn't explain what that was, you know. Then Porsha bringing up the whole thing about the alliance or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm tired of hearing about alliance, because the alliance shit don't make fucking sense. And it got so bad that they were speaking over each other. It was just like, and I couldn't even understand what the fuck was happening. And I was just really disappointed. And it was sad to look at. It was sad to look at. It really is. It really was. At the end of the day, do I feel like Porsha really wanted Shamia on the show full time and to have a real peach and to be a castmate of hers for real, and to get top billing with her on the same billing, I should say? No, I don't. I hate to say that, I don't. Do I feel like Shamia has a right to feel the way that she feels? Yes. Do I feel like Porsha may have a right to feel what she feels? Yes. But at the same time, I need both of them to be honest with each other. Y'all, there's something going on. You feel some type of way about the fact that she's on this show. That's just really what it is. That's how I look at it, okay? But you guys tell me how y'all felt about the part 2. Next week is the husbands, and part 3 finally, well, the husband. Is it husbands? No, the husband. Okay, the husband. All right. And I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all. Well, have a wonderful week, okay? I was about to say enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. The weekend is over with. Baby, we got to go to work tomorrow. But, okay? Y'all enjoy yourselves and be blessed, and I'll see y'all later.